How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Blue Shifting. And I don't know, I fell through a freaking time rift last week and totally just completely forgot that I record chaoschild, apparently. I recorded 2 Akata videos. I don't know what was wrong with me, man. I'm in a state. So, I apologize. We're getting back into it. Let's jump right in pretty much. It's been long enough. I've got to, like, it's basically last episode was about exploring the fact, hey, where we can draw on our D-sword, do some powers, move stuff with our mind. Very fun, interesting stuff. Had a whole arc of just cringe, but whatever, right? Like, we're just in the mode. I did notice however, the choice had stopped being about having, like, no delusion, a positive or a negative delusion. It is just positive or neutral. And that's making me wonder if the delusions are influenced by his state of mind. He's feeling in control. Taku's feeling more powerful. Now, he's still, like, concerned and scared, yeah, but first of all, that probably just fuels his powers to begin with. But the second thing I was thinking of is that he's more optimistic. He feels more powerful, more capable. And so he's not as like slanted towards the negative delusions, which is interesting. Again, it kind of puts this whole thing that I've been kind of chewing on since Chaos Head. And that's this idea that if the delusions are literally based on like your perceptions, right? Part of being able to be a gigalomaniac is that your delusions are very powerful. But that means that they're very likely volatile. Sure, you can train yourself to be stronger with them, but it feels like there's still so much that we haven't explored about, like, unintended delusions. Like, most of the time, even in Chaos Head, the delusions we brought in were very, like, needed, right? Like, the motivation was very, like, strong in a positive direction. It was very rare we saw truly negative delusions that, like, manifest, right? I feel like that's an aspect that we haven't explored much, considering how, I would say, unstable I think a system of, like, quote, magic, it's not magic, but, you know, magic, that's founded on delusion. I'm surprised it's as stable as it is. So I wonder if we're ever going to explore that, or if, like, in order to tell a good narrative, they're focusing on these kind of very grounded, controllable delusions and gigalomaniacs. But I digress. That's just kind of something I chewed on. I think I've said something along these lines before when I talked about my problems with Chaos Head in general. That was a big part of it. And I'm wondering if we're going to see that be addressed, because a lot of things that were kind of ambiguous or very unspecific in Chaos Head have been more strongly defined in chaoschild, which I do enjoy. I think it's something that the story needed. So yeah. Anyway, enough about that. Let's see what our shenanigans get us to, because apparently we're going back to the clinic, which is good. I think he needs to be here as often as he can. All right. So anyway, let's start. Hey, Pops.
どうしたタクル？新規臭い顔しやがって。
顔は生まれつきだよ。
I'm sure you were.
は、なんだ。もう少し面白いこと言ったらどうなんだ。
Dad was as jovial as ever. Without his lab coat, no one would ever believe he was a doctor.
どうだ？やっぱ自分の家が一番落ち着くだろう。
I mean, probably. It should. I'm sure it does. I don't know if he'll be able to admit it, but it should.
別にそうでも。
Come on.
ま、一人暮らしを始めたばっかじゃ、まだそうは思えないか。でもな、いずれわかる時が来るもんだ。我が家が一番ってな。
Home is where the heart is, and home's where you place it. I do think, though, he's made a mistake becoming homeless. I mean, not just in the general sense. I mean, he's one of the most well cared for homeless people I've ever seen, granted. But he needs to be here, even if he feels like they broke his trust. He clearly cares about them. They clearly care about him. And while it's not something you can just brush off, I feel like he can do it better if he's here than just pretending it's not, like, that he doesn't care. In the end, I'd come back here to Aoba Dorm, because Kurisu told me to do so at school.
狙われているのかもしれないんでしょ。今の場所に一人でいては危険よ。
She's not wrong.
ずっととは言わないわ。しばらくで構わない。事件が解決するまでうちで暮らしなさい。
I'm on Team Kurusu here at this point. She's the most reasonable person in the entire group. By a long shot. I wasn't her slave or anything, but just like she said, it was dangerous to be by myself right now. Especially when we didn't know who the killer was or what they were after. If someone were nearby, it would be easier to get a hold of Shinjo-san and his allies if I needed to. And I was probably never going to be able to tell this to Kurusu, but the feeling I'd felt when I'd left home was starting to disappear. He's healing. He's moving on. Like, again, I get why he feels betrayed, and that's a very valid thing that he's gone through. I think it is something that they need to talk about. So far, he's just resolved himself to not talking about it, but he's healing. That's a good step. Oh, though, if we're making this much emotional progress, we're about to have something terrible happen. After seeing Kurusu get hurt and try to protect me, to even cry for my sake despite being such a strong girl, I'd started to understand some things I hadn't realized when I'd left.
なんだよ、クソ。
Come on, bro. Just embrace it, man. You like being loved. You liked having family. I realized what I was thinking and shook my head. No way. I wasn't like Yuto, who could never seem to get away from his sister.
おい、何赤くなってんだよ。
Aww.
なんでもない。
とにかく、さっさと荷物置いてこい。お前の部屋は、のののやつがちゃんと掃除してくれてる。
Aww.
ああ。
Dad didn't get mad when I'd left or when I'd come back. Come to think of it, he'd only said one thing on the day I'd left.
そうせざるを得なかったののの気持ちがわかるようになったら、戻ってこい。じゃあな。
That's kind of crazy, but I guess he kind of just got it. He's in this adoption and foster system. Either he was adopted himself or he just has like a good sense of just people to be able to understand, like, look, he wants to go away. Fighting it's not going to help. Instead, I'll just give him some good advice and make sure he knows the door's always open. And just trust. God, to be able to trust somebody, like a kid especially, you know, because when you're like, you know, in this age, at high school age, you are capable of making tough decisions. And to trust that. To be like, hey, despite the fact that you're still, like, not an adult properly, that you're still in school, I'm going to trust you to make the best choices you can. That's powerful.
荷物置いてくる。
Yeah. Hey, Yui. I went to my room. Yui suddenly appeared. I can see Yuto behind her.
おう、タクルならもう帰ってきてんぞ。
Yui's face almost broke into a broad smile when she saw me, but she quickly forced herself to assume a strict expression. Oh, of course.
何やってんの?
Don't even... You can't pretend like you actually are upset.
え?
お風呂とキッチンと廊下の掃除。タクル兄が当番の時、私とユウが代わりにやってたんだから。
Yeah, fair, you're kind of fair, honestly.
悪い。
I apologized without thinking.
これからしばらく私たちの当番、タクル兄が代わってよね。いい?
That's, well, I was technically not living here. Part of the deal is you live here, you help.
おう。
タクル兄ちゃん、別にいいよ。僕気にしてないから。
Aww.
ダメ。こういうことはきちんとしなきゃいけないんだから。親しき仲にもって言うでしょ。
でもそんなこと言ったら、タクル兄ちゃんまたどこか行っちゃうよ。せっかく帰ってきたのに。
ダメなものはダメなの。
She's kind of adorable.
なあ、タクル。ユイのやつ、ノノに似てきたと思うか?
Oh, yeah.
うん。
It's not...
特に怒ってる顔が。
Yeah, it's not a good thing. Well, I mean, it kind of is, though.
なんか言った？
いえ、なんでもないです。ごめんなさい。
Yui put her hands on her hips and puffed out her flat chest to glare at me. She did look just like Kurusu when she did that.
もう、父さんが甘やかすからタクル兄は勝手なことばっかり。
おっと、今度はこっちに飛び火か。
Right away!
で、タクル兄、もうどこにも行ったりしないんでしょうね。
いや、その。
タクル兄がいなくなって、どれだけのの姉が悲しんでたか分かってる？
He doesn't, but that's because he's a main character in a visual novel. Apparently, all the ones I've seen lately are thick as bricks. No, the neutron stars. We'll go with that. I still think Takuru has them all beat, but it's getting close.
ユウだってすっごく寂しがってたんだから。
Aww.
そっか。
私も。私は別に何でもなかったけど。
Yo, okay, stop with the tough girl act. Come on. And suddenly, the expression on her face changed.
何でもなかったけど。
おい。
Aww. Oh, she probably missed you the most.
ゆい
Aww. Stop that. I'm not good with this stuff. I can't handle when people cry. I'd be crying myself. Oh. Oh gosh, it's actually getting to me. Fetch, this voice actor's doing a great job. Yui covered her face with her hands and ran to her room. Yuto followed quickly after her. Dad scratched his head and sighed a little as he saw them go.
ほら、さっさと荷物置いてこい、タクル。
わかった。
I got away as quickly as I could. Here it is. Look at it. That scared me. I didn't expect Yui to start crying all of a sudden. I thought nothing would really change around here, even if I left. But did they really want me here that much? Yeah! Oh my gosh, dude. She burst into tears, clearly beyond her emotional control, just because you walked in the door and might stay. Holy crap, dude. Come on. If they did.
いや、でも。
But what?
お
As I sat there, lost in thought, I was suddenly startled by a knock at the door.
誰だ？
タクル兄ちゃん。
Oh, hey, Uto.
ああ、ユウトか。
のの姉ちゃんが着替えたら降りてこいって、ご飯だって。
ああ、サンキュー。
Yeah?
どうした？
さ、ゆいお姉ちゃんのことだけど。
Yuto crossed his hands over his stomach and fidgeted as he looked up at me.
お姉ちゃん、なんかいろいろ怒ってたけど、本当はずっとタクル兄ちゃんに帰ってきてほしいって言ってて、だから怒ってたのは本気じゃなくって。
Aw, he's worried we'll actually believe what she said, even though there's so much evidence. Like, well, you know, actually, I say that. Taku might, because he's an idiot.
大丈夫。わかってるよ。
本当？
ああ、だから先に降りててくれ。すぐに着替えていくから。
Aw. Yuto looked a little relieved as he left the room.
ユウト、ちょっと背が伸びたな。
Yuto and Yui had come here almost the exact same time that I had.
一緒に暮らし始めた頃はどうなるかと思ったけど。
Oh my gosh. Oh, it's so much worse than I remember. The Shibuya earthquake hadn't just taken their parents from them, it caused them severe psychological trauma. During the earthquake, Yudo had been trapped in a dark place for a long time all by himself. As a result, he was still terrified of the darkness and being alone. That was why he clung to his sister. And Yui, after the nightmarish incident she'd gone through after the earthquake, she'd become incredibly afraid of men. Oh, that implies terrible things. She was even afraid of me at first. But over time, we started to open up to one another. When I'd left, they'd seemed to be doing a lot better. And now Yui had her act together even more. Yuto was still young, but he did seem to be a little more grown up than he had before. Even if the world didn't look like it had changed, time was still passing. But what about me? Had I changed? Bro, you can lift things with your mind. Of course you've changed.
はい、そろそろいいわよ。
There she is.
それじゃあいただきます。
いただきます。
Itadakimasu.
おほー、すき焼きなんて久しぶりじゃねえか。
Man, I really wish God, I want to learn Japanese. But I need to learn it from people who can correct me when I say things wrong, because I know I do. I did a whole compilation of me being terrible at reading Japanese.
何言ってるの。先月もやったじゃない。
あのなあ、あれは鶏肉だっただろう。牛肉じゃないとすき焼きとは言わねえんだ。
そんな贅沢をする余裕うちにはありません。
It's true. Chicken is a lot cheaper.
誰かさんが困ってる人から治療費なんか取れるかとか言っちゃうから。ま、別にいいんだけど。
Aww, he is a good doctor. He's literally willing to treat people for free if they don't have funds. Of course, in Japan, isn't the medical care kind of like, you know, unified? It gets provided government-wise. So, how's that work exactly? Is he like a free clinic that doesn't operate with like the government's like programs?
そういう言い方はねえだろう。もっと尊敬しろ、尊敬。
はいはい。
ほらタクル、お椀貸しなさい。よそってあげるから。
Kudosu reached out her hand toward me, and the very unusual seeing of him. Also, again, like pointing out here, I don't know if this is intentional or not, but he's got like human eyes, not anime eyes. Is he like one of the only people who has that? Like I've seen before where they've used that to be a denoter of someone having kind of scary eyes or being unapproachable. But it's weird, right? Like they all have these like massive like anime stylized like looks, and then here we are with like just more normal human irises.
いいよ。
ダメ。あなた最近ちゃんと食事してなかったんでしょ。
Also,
遠慮なんてしないの。
does this mean we're seeing things from Yuto's perspective?
あ、
Kudosu grabbed the bowl from me and heaped the beaten egg high with meat and vegetables.
はい。ちゃんと食べるのよ。
ああ。
タクルに、こっちにもお肉あるから。はい。
もういいって。
Aw, look at that. He looks so goofy.
何？のの姉のお肉は食べられても、私のは食べられないっていうわけ？
Phrasing.
お前酔っ払いのおっさんかよ。
おい、ちょっと待てお前ら。もう肉ないじゃねえか。
Okay, so our dad also has, well, dad in quotes, but he's our dad. He's the man who's taking care of us. He's also got those eyes. Interesting.
こういうのは早い者勝ちだっていつも父さん言ってるじゃん。
言ってるじゃん。
あ、だからもうちょっと尊敬をだな。
Everyone was seated around a single pot eating dinner. Oh, that sounds lovely. I thought that the only point of dinner was to eat until you were full, but
タクル、ユウト、お肉のおかわりまだ冷蔵庫にあるからね。たくさん食べて。
おいこら。
wait, I was saving that.
父さんは少し痩せないとダメでしょ。野菜食べなさい、野菜。
Oh, that's a low blow.
俺はお前をそんな娘に育てた覚えはないんだがな。
覚えがなくても育っちゃったんだから諦めて。
Part of me enjoyed sitting around the table listening to everyone talk. Oh, no, that wasn't true. I definitely wasn't homesick. Maybe it was just having someone near me made me feel better. Maybe it was having Kurusu offer to help me when I'd been in trouble on my own. But it definitely wasn't that I was happy being home or glad to have come back where I belonged. Dude, you're first of all so denial. Like, just utter denial. By the way, I just realized I have my glasses on still. The only reason I don't normally wear my glasses when I record is because it catches the light and is reflective. So, I don't know. Like, I'm so used to wearing them. And I wear them for work. So, I'm used to looking at computer screens with them on now. Anyway, back to me. Hi. But yeah, so super denial, by the way. And then he's even having the thought, like, I'm not glad I came back to where I belong. He's thinking about it like he belongs here.
タクル兄ってば。
あ、何？
お茶いるの？いらないの？さっきから聞いてるのに全然答えてくれないんだもん。
ああ、ごめん。
そいつのことだ。どうせまた難しいへりくつでもこねくり回してたんだろう。
I mean, that's true. But it's more he's wrestling with his inner demons.
へりくつってなんだよ。僕はいつも理路整然と正しい思考。
Oh, brother. Are you what? This dude.
はい、ストップ。そんなこといいからお茶は？
Stop! No one cares. Move on.
ああ、できればマウンテンビューを。
Okay. Wow.
うちには置いてません。
言うとったらどうしたの？ニコニコして。
Because it's funny.
うん。やっぱりみんな揃ってた方が楽しいなって。のの姉ちゃんだってすっごく嬉しそうだよ。
Oh yeah, she's all smiles today.
そう？そうね。そうかもね。
She's not ashamed to admit it. Now, if only Takuru could be happy, accepting people's joy. Oh. Hello, D-Sword. Why are you here? Oh, I wonder if his emotion... Is it denial? Or is it... like, isolation? Feeling alone? It didn't work. Oh, he was... okay, never mind. He was trying. I gotten a lot better at seeing my D-Sword, but I still didn't know how to take hold of it. I asked Arimura for help, but her answers weren't really helpful. It's basically just, you just grab it. Unlike with my psychokinesis, all I need to do is to draw my D-Sword from the Dirac Sea. I should have been able to do it without needing someone nearby. But when I was by myself, it was just an illusion. Unless I real booted it, I wouldn't be able to use it to attack or defend. If I wanted to use it as a weapon, I need to share the delusion with someone else, just like I did with my other power. At least that's what Arimura had said. But before that, I need to be able to take hold of it.
くそ、もう一回。
Yeah, it's interesting. Take hold of it. Like, we've definitely seen people being able to hold and grab the D-Sword on their own. Like, we know that can happen. But it's interesting, too, because it feels like for everyone else, like, they were able to get their D-Swords just like... they were just able to. Once they could see it, they could grab it. He's a little different.
ここから腕を伸ばして剣のイメージを固定化って。あ、くそ。
Whenever I tried to get close to my D-Sword, it moved away from me like a mirage. I just flailed my arm at it and couldn't reach it. I think that's kind of the point, though, is like you're not... it's not... he's seeing it sitting somewhere, and he's reaching for it as if he has to go to it. That's never been the way it works. You take it from where it is, regardless of how far away it seems to be, because it's not. It's right there. It's always right next to you.
手がつる。
タクル、入るわよ。
あ、
What? What are we doing? Do we have an awkward pose, or is it worse? I had my hand stretched out like a TV hero in the middle of his transformation. And Kurusu was staring at me, her eyes wide.
違うんだ。ユートに新しいヒーローの変身ポーズをだな。
That's worse than what you're doing.
ユウトはもう卒業したわよ、そういうの。
そうだっけ。
He's like, ah, crap, I'm still that young. Kurusu put her hands on her cheek and sighed.
もし自分が本物のヒーローになれると思ってるなら、やめておきなさい。
Oh, fetch me. Ouch.
そんなこと思ってないよ。僕いくつだと。
いくつになっても子供なんだから、タクルは。
Yeah, he does. A little bit. And then she stared into my eyes. I could tell she wasn't blaming me, that she was genuinely concerned.
タクル、ちょっとそこに座って。
Yes, ma'am.
いや、これから風呂に入ろうかなと。
Taku, I don't think you heard her correctly. She said to sit. You know you're going to.
いいから座りましょうね。
はい。
I sit down on the bed, as I was told. I don't like how pushy she gets. Like, it's like endearing in some ways, but it would also get micromanaging very quickly. She's a great person, though. Definitely somebody to be, like, listening to most of the time. Kurusu took a step toward the bed and looked down over me. Humans are strange creatures. Whenever someone looks down on us, they seem bigger and more powerful. I quickly stood up to look down on her instead. When I first met her, she was almost at eye level with me, but now...
これは別にやましいことをするための訓練じゃない。
Uh-huh.
能力のせいで狙われているのに、そうやってむやみに使おうとするのは。
Okay, no, this is definitely a fallacy here. It's like, she's worried that the more he practices, the more he'll draw their attention. And there's technically truth to that. But what's more truthful is that clearly people who weren't as practiced with these abilities were taken out. Being more prepared, it's like training in martial arts. You should be practicing. He needs to know how to take care of himself.
逆だよ。もっとちゃんと使えるようになれば、自分の身も守れるし、もしもの時は新聞部や青葉寮のみんなのことだって助けられる。
だから、そういうのは警察の仕事でしょ。
Not with this. You think they can deal with Pyromance Girl?
今回の事件、いざって時に警察に何かできるとは思えない。
けど、
クルスこそよく口にするじゃないか。僕らのことを守るとかなんとか。でも、能力者が襲ってきたらどうするつもりなんだ？
I mean, he's not wrong, but you don't have to phrase it quite like that.
それは。
ほら見ろ。やっぱり僕が能力を磨くしかないんだよ。
Kurusu stared down at her feet silently. Then she raised her head and looked me in the eye.
ねえ、タクル。私はあなたのことをずっと見てきたわ。だからわかるの。あなたがこの先何を考えるか。
Oh, really?
この先？
タクルはね、必ず自分を危険にさらすようなことをする。例えば、自分の力で犯人を捕まえてやろうとか。
Probably. I gulped. I hadn't really thought about it yet, but knowing me, I'd definitely think that.
なんだよ。能力者でもないくせに余地か。
いつも言ってるでしょ。能力なんかなくてもね、タクルの行動は簡単に読めちゃうって。
Exactly.
とにかくお願い。自分の身を守ることだけ考えて。ね、タクル。お願い。
Aww. She just cares, bro.
ああ。
じゃあ、約束の指切りね。
Uh-oh. Contract time. Pinky swear like we're little kids? No way, that's embarrassing. Bro, who's even here? It's just you two. Aww.
嘘ついたら針を1000本飲ますどころじゃ済まさないから。
Oh my gosh, that's terrifying. Look at that face. It exudes imminent pain if you deny it. Do not resist, Taku. And that's really scary. Then I hear the heavens intervene to save me and a phone ring out like the Gala horn. Yeah, if I recall correctly, that's a Norse thing, right? A horn held by the god who guards the bridge to the gods of Norse mythology. It bellows said to herald the arrival of Ragnarok. I hadn't gotten a new one yet, so of course it was Kurusu's.
出なくていいのか?
She's like,
今はあなたと話をしているところでしょ?
She's like, we're having a moment here. And that's very fair, honestly. Good on you. It's one thing to have a phone interrupt a moment. It's another to invalidate the moment by not ignoring the phone. Phones can wait unless it's an emergency. But most of the time, they can wait, even if you think it's an emergency.
でも事件に関係あることかもしれないし。
Stop trying to evade. She must have thought I might be right because she took out the phone, looked at the screen, and then she looked concerned.
新庄さんだわ。
Oh.
Huh?
It only said to distract her, but evidently the call really did have something to do with the case. She quickly hit the answer button to put the phone up to her ear. I watched her nervously. Speakerphone!
もしもし、クルスです。はい。はい。
On the other side of the phone, I could hear the note of concern in Shinjo-san's voice. I could tell for sure, but he seemed to be saying that someone had gone missing. Oh no.
いいえ、来てません。だいたいこの家を知らないはずですし。え？タクルが？
Uh-oh. Wait, she shouldn't even know where this place is? Are you talking about Pyromancy Girl? Because she might have been able to follow us. What? What did I do? Kurusu moved the phone away from her ear and turned back toward me.
山添さんって子、知ってるわよね。
Yamazoa? Zoa-san?
ああ、例の病院の地下室から助け出した子だよ。
Oh, right. What about her?
その子がね、行方不明なんですって。
Oh, crap. She'd been retrieved.
え?
She went missing.
タクルが連れ出したりしてないかって。
What? Why would we do that?
そんなわけないだろ。今日はクルスたちとずっと一緒だったじゃないか。
そうよね。
ちょっと貸してくれ。新庄さんと話したい。
I reached my hand toward the phone. Shinjo-san had given me the location of an office in a multi-purpose building in Sakuragaokacho. Sakuragaokacho. Gosh darn, that's a mouthful. There were rows of desks there, stacked high with papers. I normally wouldn't have considered a cornucopia of information. But I didn't have time to worry about them now. I rushed to Shinjo-san as soon as I saw him.
あの子がいなくなったって、誘拐されたんですか？警察がついててどうして？
いや、電話でも言ったけど、そうじゃなくて。
Why did you think I might have taken her? What, what a weird direction to think.
でも彼女がいなくなったのは事実ですよね。
ちょっとタクル、やめてどうしたの？
It's a kid. I think he gets sensitive about kids.
ああ、悪い。
Also, she has the information he needs, right? Like his phone. Yamazoa Uki had reminded me a little too much of Minamisawa Senri, and I had lost control of myself. Kurusu quickly moved to stop me. By the way, Kurusu had come to keep an eye on me, in her words, to make sure I didn't do anything stupid. Good.
とにかく誘拐とかそういうんじゃないんだ。いきなり姿が見えなくなってしまって。
Wait, you watched her teleport?
だからそれが誘拐されたってことじゃん。
No, wait a minute. Plus, we don't really think of teleportation. Maybe teleportation could be a thing. It's possible. I doubt it, though. What is more likely is that she was able to exude... If she's a gigalomaniac, she might have exuded a delusion that they couldn't perceive her. That's the most likely outcome.
それはないわ。だって、この部屋には私と新庄ちゃん、それに、みおちゃんの3人が一緒にいたんだもの。
By the way, hi Mio. Momose-san, the CEO of Frieza, had been looking confused and concerned ever since I'd arrived. When I'd first met her the night we snuck into AH Tokyo General Hospital, she seemed like a loud, boisterous sort of woman, and now she seemed kind of tired.
彼女をソファーに座らせて、俺たちはこっちで話をしてたんだよ。で、ふとソファーを見たら、彼女がいなくなっていた。
Yeah, I think she's a gigalomaniac, and I think she just finally left.
トイレとかじゃないんですか？
Kurisu pointed to the toilets in the back. But Shinjo-san put his head on his forehead, thinking, and said,
真っ先に探したよ。でもどこにもいなくてね。それどころか、窓やドアすら開けた形跡がない。
考えられることは一つだ。彼女はギガロマニアックスだからな。
Exactly.
能力を使って自分で出て行ったんだろう。
能力？
Come to think of it, I still hadn't asked. What power did Yamazoe Uki have?
テレポーテーションとか、そういう。
Kunosato-san whispered in answer, her voice full of hate without even bothering to look back at me.
よくわからない。
Gosh, why is she so hostile, though? I don't get it.
わからないって。
ああ。彼女、俺たちの質問にほとんど応じる様子がなくてね。能力に関しては、久里さんが探ろうとしたんだが、無駄だった。
そもそも瞬間移動だとすれば、とうの昔にここを抜け出していたはずだ。だが、あいつはそうしなかった。
Yeah. That makes it more likely of two things, in my opinion. Number one, there was something that was worth sticking around for. She sounded like she really, really wanted to leave, but maybe she wanted to be here for a reason. Secondly, is that someone had retrieved her, which is very, very likely. Because when everyone at the Tokyo General Hospital realized that they'd been infiltrated, they pulled out. It was probably either they realized they'd been infiltrated and then learned that she was gone, or they figured out they'd been infiltrated because she was gone. Either way, it's very clear that whoever was in charge of that place would know that she'd vanished, and maybe they just had to track her down.
ただ、ウキ君は少し特殊なようだ。今回はそれにやられたらしい。
特殊？
私ね、少し前から考えていたのよ。ウキちゃんを一度どこかの児童養護施設に預けた方がいいかもしれないって。それでさっき新庄ちゃんとみおちゃんに提案したら、快く OK をもらって。
俺は OK なんか出してませんよ。
I didn't agree. He's like, what are you talking about?
私もです。
ちょっと黙っててちょうだい。こんがらがっちゃうから。
She's like, I thought she should go to adoption, and everyone was on board with that. Wait a minute, we weren't on board with that. She's like, stop making it complicated. You were on board. You can't just gaslight reality. Momose-san motioned for them to be quiet. Maybe she can, though. Is she a gigalomaniac? Maybe she's just trying to, make the world what she wants it to be.
とにかく OK をもらったの。それで私は
Oh, I right-clicked, sorry.
ちゃんを連れて駐車場に降りて、車に乗せようとしたわけ。知り合いの施設に相談してみようって。
じゃあ、彼女を連れ出したのは百瀬さんじゃないですか。
So why was everyone so upset that she disappeared? Momose had taken her outside. There was no mystery there. As Kurisu and I stood there with our mouths hanging open, Shinjo-san interrupted.
という夢を見たんだそうだ。
Her dream?
は？夢？
違うわ。あれは絶対にあったことよ。だって、ウキちゃんの手の感触とか、車のエンジンをかけた感覚とか、全部リアルに残ってるもの。
A delusion. A delusion. That's probably how she got out. You let her out.
けど、ウキ君を自動車に乗せようとした途端、我に返ったんですよね。そしたら百瀬さんは事務所の中にいて、俺たちと話をしている最中だった。
ええ、そうなの。
She used a delusion to get outside and then sent you back.
俺たちは児童養護施設の話なんて提案されてないし、ウキ君と百瀬さんがここから出ていくのも見ていません。百瀬さんとはここでずっと話をしていただけです。間違いありません。
Yeah, that might be her power. Her power might be basically teleportation, but the way it works is you have to feed into someone else's desire, and then you can make it a temporary reality, which is kind of interesting because that implies that she can kind of dip her toe in like another world line and then pull everything back, like kind of like a rubber band being stretched and snap right back to where they were, but she can be in a different location when that snap occurs. So it's almost like a combination of being a gigalomaniac and, well, what was Okabe in Steins Gate? There was that term for him where he would retain his memories even when the world line would shift. Yeah, like there's a name for that. And like maybe she's like a combination of those two, where she can delude herself into a potential alternate reality where most everything's the same but something changes, like her being taken to an orphanage, and then she could just snap reality back but remain isolated from the snapback.
なのに、ウキ君は部屋からいきなり消えた。
どういうことですか？よくわかりません。
多分それが山添由紀の能力なんだろう。彼女を捕獲したら改めて調べてみよう。
Once you capture her, bold of you to assume that when she can literally disappear on you, that you'd actually catch her again. Kunosato-san's use of the word capture pissed me off. I could tell that, like Arimura-san, like Arimura said, she didn't even think of us as human, but she didn't have to talk that way about a little girl, did she? Even if she didn't like psychics, did she have to go that far? I glared at her, but Kunosato-san didn't seem bothered in the slightest.
ウキ君の行き先ですけど、宮代君たちが知らないとなると、あとはあそこしか考えられないですね。
She's back with whoever had her.
私も今、そう思ってたところ。
もしそうだとすれば、少しばかり骨が折れるな。
Yeah, because it also probably means that whoever we've been resisting now knows exactly who we are, where we are. It's gonna be bad.
どこなんですか、それ。
Shinjo-san answered me with a bitter sigh.
君もよく知ってるところだよ。あの子の元の家だ。
え？
The hospital?
まさか、そんな。
ふきちゃんたらね、あそこへ返してくれの一点張りだったのよ。
Right.
あんな地獄みたいな場所に、一体なんで？
She cared. For whatever reason, she genuinely cared.
さてな、とにかく厄介なことになる前に取り戻さないとな。
So here we go, back again.
タクル。ねえ、タクル。
Interesting, Kurusu's gonna be able to see this place finally.
見つかったらどうするんだよ。
An hour had passed since we first spoken to Momose-san at Frieza. Kurusu and I were hiding behind some plants near AH Tokyo General Hospital.
新庄さんたちに任せないとダメよ。私たちみたいな素人が出しゃばったりしたら。
それじゃダメなんだ。山添由紀って子は僕が見つけて青葉寮へ連れて帰る。
Oh, Aoba dorm. Interesting that he wants to take her there.
どうして？
彼女、今の久野里さんには渡せない。
Oh, dang. He's gone from being like kind of bitter towards her to genuine feeling like hate. I was gritting my teeth hard in anger.
タクル？
Afterwards, Shinjo-san, Momose-san, and Kunosato-san had started coming up with a plan to get inside the basement of the hospital. Of course, they weren't going to let us come along. We were told to go home, and at first that was my plan. But then things changed. Kunosato-san said that she wasn't going to send Yamazoe Uki to an orphanage, but to the research center she was affiliated with. She'd said they were going to research her power there. However, Kunosato-san had treated not only Arimura and I, but also little Uki as nothing more than guinea pigs. And I'd heard her use the word capture many times.
あの子は苦しい実験から解放されて、やっと地下から出られたっていうのに。
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense he'd be so sensitive to something like this. Was Kunosato-san just going to send her right back to the same old life she'd experienced before? Just imagining it terrified me and made me come to a decision. I'll save her.
もしここであの子を見放したら、また同じことの繰り返しだ。またこの場所で誰かを見捨てることになってしまう。昔僕は、クルスの親友だった南沢千里を見捨てて逃げた。それを今でも後悔してる。
Aww. Did she really not know?
あの山添って子も実験の犠牲者だ。だから今度こそ僕は助けたい。そんなことくらいで南沢千里が許してくれるとは思わないけど、でも助けたいんだ。
Good. Aww. She's like, holy crap. Kudashi's voice sounded choked up. She must have been remembering what happened to her best friend.
タクル、あのね。
Oh, but he doesn't know that she also knew and didn't do anything about it.
Huh?
Yeah, ooh, that's gonna be awkward.
本当は、千里は。
彼女のこと何か知ってるのか？おい、クールス。
Don't push.
ごめんなさい。気が動転してしまって。千里はね、渋谷地震で死んだの。あなたのせいじゃないわ。絶対に違う。
I think she knows Senri's alive. I don't know if she knows that it's the pyromancy girl, but I think she knows that she's still around.
クルス。
だから、タクルが責任を感じ続ける必要なんてないの。忘れていいのよ。ね。
Kudashi looked down at her feet. When she did, her hair covered her eyes, so I couldn't tell what she was thinking.
今、クルスは何を言いかけて、
Yeah.
何を言いやめたんだろう。
Yeah. Just as I was about to ask, I heard soft footsteps.
来た。
Momose-san's van was in the same alley she'd picked us up in before. They'd been watching the hospital for a while now. I saw two shadows that probably belonged to Shinjo-san and Kunosato-san leave the van and run on the ground.
クルス、向こうが動いた。大丈夫か？いけるか？
I tapped her on the shoulder and she looked up. And I was reminded of why they called her the Empress of Hekiko Academy. There's no trace of sadness that had been there a moment ago.
ごめんね。ちょっと千里を思い出しちゃって。でも、もう平気よ。
本当はここで待っててもらいたいんだけど。
But I couldn't real boot on my own. I needed a partner no matter what.
何言ってるの？あなたのことを心配しながら待ってるなんて、こっちからお断りよ。
Aww.
だと思った。
We followed Shinjo-san and Kunosato-san from a distance. A moment later, they pressed themselves up against the wall near the rear emergency entrance. From the distance, I could tell it was more heavily secured than before. The lock seemed to be newer and sturdier model. But Shinjo-san must have already had a key because he took something out of his pocket and started to put it in the lock.
あそこから入るつもりだな。
Alright then. I quickly created an image in my mind. I looked at the key-like object he was holding, and envisioned it flying away.
やっぱりもっと訓練しとくんだった。
The more I started to panic, the more I lost focus. I couldn't make a delusion clear in my mind.
くそ。落ち着け。大丈夫だ。落ち着け。よし、見えた。
I could see my D-sword floating in front of me.
クルス、ちょっと脳を使わせてもらうな。
どう そうそう。っていうのもなんか変だけど。
Yeah, that is kind of weird. I imagined the delusion I'd come up with going inside Kurusu, Shinjo-san, and Kunosada-san's minds. Kurusu gasped a little. She must have felt something. The delusion was shared between us, and instantly the real boot was complete. Clang. The metallic object in Shinjo-san's hand rolled away and hit the ground with a clang. Then I heard two of them gasp. The key rolled along the ground a very unnatural way until it rolled down a metal sewer grate. Just like I'd imagined.
よし。バカ、隠れてたくる。
Yeah, they're looking for us now. Just as I was about to make my victory pose. Oh my gosh, you idiot. Kurusu grabbed my hand and pulled me back. Then she dragged me down into the ground.
悪い。
調子に乗らないの。これだから私がついてないとダメなのよ。
Yeah, agreed. Her hand was shaking a little. She was probably still scared of my power no matter how many times she saw it. That was how most people would react. I hesitated for a moment, then gripped her hand in return. Then I let it go and looked over at Shinjo-san and Kunosada-san. The two of them whispered to each other and then silently headed back toward the van.
今だ。
We crouched low as we heard her headed for the emergency entrance. When we reached the door, I turned around toward Kurusu. She caught up a moment later. Her breathing was a little heavy.
すまない。ちょっと早かった。
こっちこそごめん。もっと運動が得意ならよかったんだけど。鍵開けられるの？
Also, like, you say you wish you were more athletic. You also were stabbed not too long ago?
多分。クルス、もう一回。いや、何回かやるよ。悪いけど。
構わないわ。そのために来てるんだから。
I stared at the door. The lock was stronger than before, but probably because of the time we'd broken in. I imagined the lock flipping and the door opening. There was a heavy click and the door opened like I'd imagined. Gosh, she's really freaking out now. Thanks to my power, we were able to make it inside with no trouble. I remembered the route to the room where we found Yamazoe Uki when we headed there. But as we walked through the darkness, I thought Kurusu was acting a little strange. You better not have, like, torn up something. What's going on?
大丈夫か？
実はちょっと閉所恐怖症がね。でも平気。気にしないで。
Claustrophobic.
平気って、すごい汗だぞ。
Oh, you know, we all were trauma kids, right? I wonder if hospital is a really traumatic place for her. Like, I don't think we've seen her here before. Maybe the hospital, especially at night, is just messing with her bad. And then I realized something.
まさか、傷が痛むのか？
She seemed so like she was okay, but she had been really had been a really bad injury. I couldn't have fully healed up by now.
おい、クルス。
平気だから。ほら、急ぎましょう。
I don't trust that. She pushed onward before I could stop.
もうちょっとだ。あと少しで例の部屋だから我慢してくれ。
ええ。
That's right. It was right around this corner. Oh. Suddenly, we heard a voice sobbing in the darkness. Kurusu and I almost leapt into each other's arms. Aww. Did she hear and the door won't open? It was the voice of a little girl.
Takuru, この声。
Was it a ghost? No, that was dumb. Which meant it had to be. Kurusu and I nodded and stepped forward in the direction of the room. There she is. Oh, we're like down here. Oh! That's why she's freaking out. We were down there where she saw Senri being like tortured maybe, if she was down there before, or like had seen it before. Just like Shinjo-san had said, the room was completely empty. The beds, the patients had all been confined there were all gone. It's just an empty room now. And standing in the middle of an empty room was a sobbing Yamazoe Uki. Yamazoa, not Yamazoe. How long had she been there? She's crying like a child who'd lost their mother.
いない。誰もいない。誰か返事して。
Aww. I mean, I know she's going through terrible stuff here, but like, good grief. It's like her whole life, it's just gone. Kurusu couldn't bear to watch. She ran over and gave the girl a big hug. Kurusu started crying not long after, too.
今までよく頑張ったね。でももういいの。だからお家へ帰ろう。ね。
But Yamazoa must have not heard her because she just stood there crying silently for a long, long time. The whole time there was nothing I could do but watch. Are we like carrying her?
大丈夫？変わりましょうか、タクル。
いいよ。もう目の前だから。
I understand though. Let's not make the girl who was stabbed recently carry the child. Okay. I think we're going to end here. Not because it's the best place to end, but because I feel like we're going to launch into some good stuff. We're going to talk about her with the family. I'll watch her get a little acclimated, maybe be accepted into the family a bit more. I think it's going to be good. It's going to be real good. And I think it's a good place just to end because I also need to get back to life and sleep and all that good stuff. Thank you so much for being here today. Thanks so much for joining me on the channel. It means the world to me that you're here. I hope you all enjoy. I certainly have enjoyed it myself, and I'm looking forward to sharing it with you. So thank you for your patience with me. Thank you for dealing with the fact that I just kind of goofily skipped and recorded something else last week because I'm just dumb. But it means the world to me that you've been here. So thank you so much. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. I'm looking forward to hearing what your thoughts are about this. And as we dive further on, like I'm kind of trying to predict and make my theories. And I know it'll be tough not to spoil stuff, but I do want to hear what you think about my theories if you can avoid spoilers, just because it is fun kind of having me theory craft without being primed for anything. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you think of them, at least, like whether or not you think that they're good, or if you have any comments or maybe like points of view related that I haven't thought of, because that's one of the coolest things you do is you often show me other perspectives I haven't considered yet. That's really cool. Anyway, enough about that. Thank you so much for being here. Hope you enjoyed yourselves. I certainly enjoyed myself, and I'm looking forward to showing you more next week. But until the next video you're watching me, I have to see me in next. I'll see you there.